Hello everyone, welcome to Ask Traders. In today's weekly video, we will look into the Canadian dollar itself and what we should expect from the Canadian dollar pairs. First of all, I would like to get to the previous week's analysis that we had on Japanese yen. We will start on the Australian Japanese yen. This was the original point that we think in the long term Japanese yen will be strong. So we can see that here we actually established a double top right there. This could be the point where the price will start moving down. So overall, this is still a valid trend that we expect the Japanese yen to be outperforming other currencies. Now, on the Canadian Japanese yen, what we have actually is massive resistance form here. We can see that the moving average has been rejected. This is the exponential moving average. Then simple moving average has been rejected as well. This is the key point where one moving average, simple, and then exponential rejected. It makes it a very strong resistance, which should result in an overall downtrend. CHF JPY, what we have, this was the idea at this price a couple of weeks ago that it will go down. What happened? Price did go down, then probably it was stop loss kick out move by the market. Price has reached exponential moving average, rejected it, and yet again produced a new lower low. This could be now that the price will attempt to retest the exponential moving average and potentially the downtrend trend line, which has been actually also rejected here, and still expected the downtrend on the Swiss Japanese yen. Euro Japanese yen, this was the original post. It's very similar to Swiss franc Japanese yen. We reached the exponential moving average, produced a new lower low, and it seems like pair is getting ready once again to move down. Pound Japanese yen, our original idea was there on the bounce of the moving average and the downtrend trend line. Although you can see that another stop loss kick out move, this was the strong resistance where exponential moving average rejected, price failed to close above, meaning the downtrend still valid. Besides, we have breakout above simple moving average at this point, which is now acting also the resistance, this area. But on the GBP JPY, it could be the range trading as well, because it seems like it's bouncing off the 50 simple moving average here. Now on the New Zealand Japanese yen, first we had this bounce of 76.4% Fibonacci clean bounce, but then price did break above this resistance zone, which means that on the New Zealand Japanese yen we still can expect move down, although it looks more like a range trading rather than a strong downtrend. Overall, we should test the one of the moving average right there, and then could be even going lower, but overall there is no clean direction because of this breakout. Now finally, United States dollar versus Japanese yen still looks very bearish, especially with this clean bounce. We had the idea for the downtrend right there, what this arrow is, and we are approaching the overbought zone right there on the RCI oscillator, so could be another retest of this resistance. We can see that clearly there is a resistance forming at this green line here, and perhaps this will be another start for the trend or another wave to the downside. Now to the original idea on the Canadian pairs, we have idea that well, there is a view that the Canadian dollar will be actually extremely weak. Perhaps it has something to do with the US oil being weak and the oil in general prices struggling. Now what we have on the Australian versus Canadian dollar is clearly trending up. The uptrend trend line is being rejected. 50 exponential moving average being rejected as well, forming the support right there very strong, and besides it was previous resistance, now it's the support, uptrend trend line rejected. But at the same time we have this resistance formed, and we need to see some sort of breakout for the Canadian dollar to be strong. For example, if it breaks to the downside, it will prove wrong. Probably it has to break and close below 0.9 psychological support, but if it breaks to the upside, it will prove that the Canadian dollar is actually struggling. New Zealand Canadian dollar, we have Resistance formed right there, very strong. But what is interesting is this close above. We have New Zealand Canadian dollar managed to close above the resistance, and it's kind of struggling now to go in any direction, although uptrend trend line is holding. 50 and 200 exponential moving and averages rejected here, 200 rejection, 50 rejection. This spike produced, I think if it will manage to break with the daily close below, the trend will reverse to the downside, but as long as it's above, it should be moving to the upside. Euro Canadian dollar now, this is another interesting pair. We have clearly a very strong downtrend, which might now start reversing to the upside. This is because this support double bottom has been formed, and we are breaking above the downtrend trend line. Now we need to see the forward close. If it will be above, there easily we can reach one of the moving average and potentially break above and establish a stronger uptrend. Pound versus Canadian dollar. Also, we have a downtrend trend line, which is not broken yet. But at the same time, we have, as Euro Canadian, double bottom formed here. Price failed to close below, produced a spike, but failed to close below. Only if it manages with the daily close to be below that price at 172.00, also psychological support, then we can talk about the downtrend. But we think we will be retesting one of the moving averages and potentially moving to this resistance zone easily in the coming weeks. Now, dollar Canadian is looking quite bullish already. Now, let's move to the 1 hour chart. Clearly, there is a bullish divergence, and price broke above 50 moving average exponential. So this could be pretty strong uptrend for the dollar Canadian in the medium term, for the week, maybe 2. Moving on to the Canadian Swiss franc. Okay, Canadian Swiss franc, we had on the 1 hour chart, we have a bearish divergence. Price produced a higher high right there, but RCI went lower. We broke below the 50 exponential moving average, which suggests that the price is getting ready for some stronger move to the downside. Now, on the 4 hour chart, I think this looks the most interesting. So this actually could be an ABC correction, potentially, while we will continue the longer term downtrend. If I move, for example, to the daily chart, here we're still below the moving averages, which should result in some pullback. Now, moving on to the Canadian Japanese yen. This is probably the most interesting pair of all, simply because the Japanese yen is getting strong, as we just spoke about the Japanese yen previously, and the Canadian dollar is getting weak. There could be quite a massive trend to the downside establishing overall. So you can see that the moving averages exponential rejected, 50 rejected, and as we already spoke today, it is a clearly very strong resistance. We can expect spikes above this price. This is very possible as a stop loss kick out move, although in the longer term this should be a quite an interesting selling opportunities as long as price remains below 78.20. So that's it, guys, for today. I hope you enjoyed this video. Smash the like and subscribe to our channel to see more analysis.